The truth about parenthood. A conversation every parent needs to hear. As a matter of fact, every child with a parent needs to hear. So maybe you listen and you invite your kids to listen as well.
Welcome to the David Adam Kurz Show.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to the David Adam Kurz Show, where we talk about real life, real business, and real leadership. Now, first of all, I just want to say I appreciate you guys tuning into our show. I appreciate it so much. All I'm going to ask in return is that you make sure you subscribe wherever you're listening to this on. And I come over to our YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube, and share this episode or any episode that we do that you like. Share it out there. Let's put it out to the world, because you never know who needs to hear this episode. Now, today, I'm not just going to talk to entrepreneurs. I know typically you jump on here and my conversation is with you, the entrepreneur, the business owner. But today I'm talking to parents. And now, although this is truly directed to the parent, I really feel like the kids should also listen to this. And if you are an entrepreneur and not a parent, maybe you still listen to this because you are a kid. You are somebody's child, right? And so this episode is raw. It's vulnerable. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself, and it's not about perfection. It's about the messy, powerful, painful, beautiful truth of raising kids in a world that never, ever slows down. Now, whether you're a new parent or a seasoned one, or maybe even struggling with your own relationship with your parents, ladies and gentlemen, this one is for you, okay? Now, every parent lives a life their child never sees. I'm going to tap into this with you guys. See, our truth is rooted in sacrifice, stress, survival, and love. But a child's truth is built on what they experience, not what we explain. Let me say that again to you guys. A child's truth is built on what they experience and not what we explain. According to Dr. Dan Siegel, the author of Whole Brain Child, children's brains aren't wired for full empathy until later in their teen years. It's probably why they go crazy sometime in the late teens, right? But they can't understand why we do things. They only feel the outcomes, right? And so this is why many children grow up resenting parts of their upbringing, even when their parents were doing everything they possibly could, doing the absolute best that they could. And now I know that you're thinking, do my kids resent me for anything that I've done? I'm doing the best I can. Well, the question is, do you resent your parents for anything that they did when they were doing the best that they could? See, they don't see the sleepless nights. They don't see the fear of making rent or mortgage, or the grind that builds the roof over their heads. They only see when you're late to the game, when you miss the recital, when you miss the award show, and when you raise your voice because you're overwhelmed. Look, you can love your kids more than life, but they can still feel unloved in moments. Now, every generation says, I want what's better for my kid than I had. But better is subjective. It doesn't mean more stuff, more freedom, more structure, less trauma. What does it mean? Dr. Shafila, her last name is Saberi, all right? I'm sorry. It's Shafali Saberi, okay? She's a clinical psychologist and the author of The Conscious Parent. And she explains that parenting isn't about fixing our kids. It's about healing ourselves so we don't pass the pain forward. Our kids don't need perfection. They really don't. And we many times try to run off as the perfect parent, the best that we can be. They need presence. They need honesty. And they need to see us trying our very best. They need to see it. I'm an advocate for taking your kids to work on the days that they have off instead of leaving them home in the lap of luxury. Take them to see what you do every day. Take them to see the grind. Take them to see the hustle. Take them to see those heated conversations on the phone. Let them see what you do, because the ones that see grow up to say, my mom and dad worked their butts off. And I saw it for myself. And it inspired me to do what I want to do. Now, the mindset of a 22-year-old parent and a 38-year-old parent is drastically different. Younger parents may have more energy, but they have less stability. right? And older parents may be more grounded and financially secure, but stretched thinner with responsibilities. You're there less. And I was a different man when I had my first child than I am today. The difference impacts how I show up. And sometimes that's the hard thing for the older siblings to understand. See, I had 2 kids, and then I was gifted with 2 kids in a marriage. And all 4 girls are drastically different. And my first 2 girls, they were a product of my early 20s. And my second 2 girls were gifted to me in my late 30s. 2 very different people. Now I'm 48 years old. I'll be 49 next month. And I'm a very different person than I was when I was younger and trying to be on the come up. Now I'm in a different place in my life, a different financial status. I'm in a different workload, in a different work mode. My brain operates completely different. And sometimes it's really hard for the older kids to understand why the things happen for the younger kids the way that they do. And it simply lies to, I'm a different person. I'm not the same person I was when my ex gave birth to my 28-year-old daughter. And I can't go back in time and give to my 28-year-old what she could have had at 15, what I'm giving the 15-year-old now. It's a whole different world. There's a psychologist by the name of Eric Erickson's, and they have stages of psychological development that show maturity influences how we perceive our role as caretakers, decision makers, and disciplinarians, right? And so we even discipline different as we grow older. Some people say we get softer. I think we get smarter in the way that we discipline our kids. Now let's talk about these moments we don't like to admit to. When you, as a parent, lose it. I know I have. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, I am Puerto Rican. There is Puerto Rican hot blood in here. So when I lose it, baby, you can see my white skin turn red. And I start, like, you can see, like I get the twitch and everything. My wife's Dominican. It takes a lot, by the way, for my wife to lose her shit. But when she does, everybody move out the way. This is when your reaction is loud, fierce, and sometimes even frightening to the people around you. Even the most loving parent can reach a breaking point. And we know our kids love to push the buttons to see how far they can get us to that breaking point. Clinical psychologist Dr. Becky Kennedy, author of Good Inside, explains that ruptures in parent-child relationships are not inherently damaging. It's the lack of repair that causes the harm. Sometimes your fierce reaction is what cuts through the fog your child is in. Sometimes your kid is like in this fog where we've said it before. This kid doesn't even know what they got. They don't even know what they're talking about. And sometimes that fierce reaction is the knife that cuts through all the fog and helps them see. And you may have tried kindness, patience, and redirection, and nothing has worked. So you snap. And suddenly, they snap out of it. So it's not always a bad thing. And that moment, though not pretty, might be what jolts them into reality. But what matters most is what you do next. Listen, what can we do after? Apologize without justifying. I lost my cool. I shouldn't have yelled like that. I'm sorry. Now, I know a lot of you are thinking that's crazy. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you, from my heart and the tears that have rolled down my face, this is the right thing to do. And I had to learn that. My wife taught me this because I always felt justified in my snap. And I always felt like I'm the parent. Why should I apologize? You live in my house under my rules and my roof, wearing clothes I bought you, eating my food, right? And that's all cool. And they know it. We don't have to tell them. They know. They know without us, it'd be a real struggle, baby. But there's nothing wrong with going to them and saying, I lost my cool. I shouldn't have snapped like that. And I'm sorry. And notice that this is without justifying. It's not, I shouldn't have snapped like that, but the reason I did was ABC. Leave that shit alone. They know why you got mad. They already know. You can explain the why briefly. Listen, I was scared and frustrated. I care about you, and I want you to do better. That's the why. And invite conversation. Let's talk about what happened. What were you feeling? Here's what I was feeling. This is where I'm coming from. And don't try to win that fight, because it's not a win or lose situation. It's an expression of feelings. And then hear their feelings out and listen to them, because their feelings are valid. Your strength is in the repair. That's how trust grows. And trust has to go both ways. Now, this one is for those of us who carry a heavy relationship with our own parents. I struggle with mine. I carry a heavy relationship with my parents. And we often say, that's just how I was raised. But just because it was normal doesn't mean it was right. The truth, your childhood shaped you, but it doesn't have to control you. You're allowed to do it differently. And that doesn't mean you're dishonoring your parents. It means that you're choosing evolution. Harvard research on epigenetics and behavioral science shows that trauma can be inherited, but so can healing. Be conscious, know your triggers, know what you hated growing up, and decide not to pass it on. Maybe your parents yelled constantly. Maybe they withheld affection. Maybe they withheld information. Maybe you've never felt like enough. That doesn't have to be your child's story. This doesn't mean becoming the opposite of your parents. It means becoming aware and intentional of your own responses. I don't believe that you should completely disregard what your parents did, because what your parents did made you the phenomenal human being you are today. You bring it with you and you carry it along, but you make conscious decisions and become massively aware and intentional with your own responses. Honor your roots, but protect your branches. Let's be real. When we say we want our kids to go out and explore the world, but a part of us deep down inside hopes they stay close. I'm looking at this right now. I have one daughter that lives in New Jersey. I have another daughter that just got accepted to Florida International University, and her plan is to finish there and go up north somewhere, Pennsylvania, Virginia, I don't know, and disappear and finish school up there, go to law school. The one that graduates as a high school next year, she's becoming a senior next year. She wants to go to school in Maryland. The younger one's probably going to follow her to the same school. You want to go to Johns Hopkins. And as much as I am a believer, because I went to the Marine Corps, and exploring the world and getting out of the bubble of Bronx, New York, and Miami, Florida, getting out of those two bubbles helped me understand the world at a bigger level, at a larger scale, and made me a better person, a more well-rounded person. As much as I want them to explore the world, kind of want them to do it with me. And I would love if my daughter went to FIU and then did law school at FIU, which is a fantastic law school, by the way. And I would love it if the one that wants to go to Johns Hopkins, even though I know that Johns Hopkins is the absolute best for her and the career path as a dermatologist that she wants. And I want that for her more than anything, but deep down inside, I hope she says she's staying. I hope she looks at me in the face one day and says, Abba, I'm going to go to FIU or UM. I want to stay close. I love being home. I love my parents. I love doing the things that we do together. I love Friday dinners. I love all the stuff that we do, and I don't want to miss out on that. Deep down inside, I hope that happens. And then I hope the little one goes, well, shit, everybody stayed. I'm staying too. Those are the things I hope and pray for deep down inside, but I won't admit it to them because I want them to make the decisions that they feel are best for their future. Because I, in my childhood, was brainwashed into the idea that I would one day become an attorney. And because it was so powerful in my head, I went a complete opposite direction. And then I almost still became an attorney because it was brainwashed in there. Not a negative brainwash, ladies and gentlemen. Attorney, come on, that's a good brainwash. But also, I didn't feel like I was put on the path to do that. I want them to have the path to do whatever they desire to do. Because I know no matter what they do, Johns Hopkins, FIU, Florida State, Harvard, Yale, whatever it is, I know they're going to get accepted and they're going to do great. I know it. Doesn't matter. You can't force closeness. You can build a relationship where your kids choose to stay near. We can't force it. In psychology, this is called emotional safety. Kids who feel emotionally safe at home want to stay connected, even into adulthood. Should I pray to have my grandkids running around my house one day? That means being emotionally available, not just physically present. Letting them express opinions even when they differ from yours. Creating memories, not just moments. Laughing and eating together, showing interest in their world. I want my kids to stay. Maybe they'll still go away to college, and they should. But I want them to miss home. That's how I know I did something right. They get there and they miss being around us, being at home. Research from the Journal of Marriage and Family shows that adult children who maintain closeness with their parents often describe their upbringing as emotionally open and respectful of individuality. Think about that for a moment. Now, I'm going to go into a thing that I severely failed at. See, when my younger kids, my ex-wife and I divorced, they always lived in a separate state. And so I would try to buy their love. When they were around, they would come visit me, which was often. I would buy them things and take them places. And I messed up with that because it should have been presence over presence every single time. See, a study by the University of Michigan found that quality time, not quantity, has the most impact on a child's emotional well-being. Dinners together, one-on-one walks, taking interest in what they love, even if it's freaking Minecraft, volleyball, which my kids drive me crazy with, or bad YouTube skits. I mean, dude, my kids laugh by themselves on their phones, and I'm just like, I've sat through some of the movies that they watch, and I tell them, babies, I can't promise I'm going to stay awake through this one, okay? I'm with you, though. When you ask about their day and actually listen to them, you're telling them they matter. You're looking at them right in the face and going, you matter. And I love that. When I pick up my kids from school or whatever the case is, I ask them, how was your day? How was practice? How was school? And whatever they tell me, I intently listen to. I'm not picking up phones from work or making calls or anything like that. I'm trying my best. And I can't say I haven't picked up a call. Let me, like, when they're speaking to me, I try my very best to be there at that moment and listen to them and absorb that information. I wasn't always like that. I'm bringing you the changes. I've got 4 girls, 28, 25, 17, and soon to be 15. Now, kids want to feel heard and understood, not corrected all the time. Dr. Laura Markham, author of Peaceful Parent, Happy Kids, teaches that connection comes before correction. Instead of, why did you do that? Try, help me understand what you were feeling at that moment. See, it's not about their best friend. It's about being their safety place. You don't have to be their best friend. You just have to be the safest place on earth that they know they can come to. Listen, we're all just trying to figure this out. One moment, one mistake, and one big hug at a time. And I hope that you as a child, if you're a child listening to this, understand that. We're not perfect. We're just trying to be intentional. Apologize when you mess up. Let them know that you're human and trying harder every single day. And I know many of you listening to this right now need to hear this. My kids may never understand why I grind so hard. They may never, ever achieve the true understanding of that. But one day, when they become parents, I hope they get it. I hope they understand. I hope they understand the why. Because I'm not grinding every day for myself. I'm grinding every day for the safety of my family. Now, we don't always get it right. Sometimes we're the storm. Sometimes we're the shelter. But in the end, parenting isn't about perfection. It's about presence. And the truth is, we're all just trying to build a family that feels like home. That's all we're trying to do. Listen, at a meeting with my kids, finally had all four of them under the same roof. As I explained to you, my oldest lived somewhere else and she was visiting with her amazing boyfriend. And I took my girls and my wife, and we went to a private space in my home and we had a conversation which I thought would last about 45 minutes and ended up going about 3 hours. And I had the opportunity to intentionally and listen to my kids, and I heard them. And it was so powerful that my wife and I have talked about it almost every day since. And we're working on ways that we can create a better, emotionally open, powerful, safe home for our kids. Again, I'm not trying to be their friends. And they know that. I'm never going to be their bestie. But I am going to be their shelter, their protector. I'm going to be their gladiator, and I'm going to be their comfort zone. And they need to know that. Right? I got 4 girls. I heard this one day. It said, your daughter may not want you to beat up her boyfriend, but she wants to know you can and will if you need to. And I want them to look at me and go, man, that man has my back in every position. I want my daughters to know that they can cry on my shoulder. I want them to know that they can vent to me whenever they feel like it. I want them to know that they can be comfortable to just lay on me and release if they need to. Equally, I want them to know that if it's 1 o'clock in the morning and they're somewhere they don't want to be, I will come get them. And whoever's put them in that position, watch out. Coming in hot. If this spoke to you, send it to another parent. Let them know they're not alone. Let them know we're all in this together. Leave a comment if you're watching this on YouTube, because I respond to every single one of them. And join us at the Freedom Achiever Academy, because how you parent impacts how you lead. And so hit the freedomachieveracademy.com and join us there. Join our community. Now, I appreciate you guys. Make sure you subscribe. And again, I ask you, share this information. And if this hit you hard where you needed to hear it, and I would like to know, make sure you comment, man. I would really like to know. And if you disagree with anything I said, please put it on there, because we're all human and we should have some kind of banter and disagreement back and forth. We should think different. Humans are not a community of sheep. We're not supposed to be sheep all going the same direction. We're supposed to be able to look at each other and have healthy debates. So put it on there. The only thing that I can tell you is I am coming from 28 years of parenting, 4 girls, different age zones, and different levels of my life. I can only tell you what I feel, know, and what I've learned throughout the process. My greatest teacher in parenting was my wife. My second greatest teacher in parenting was the United States Marine Corps. My third greatest teacher in parenting was my mom. And if I put all of those together, I can create an amazing approach for my children that they would never, ever expect. But I will tell you this as a close. I would not know what direction to take my parenting had I not spent those 3 hours and listened to them. I just wouldn't know. And the only way I was able to get my girls to open up to me was for me to be vulnerable and open up to them. I hope that resonates with you. You can't just put them in a room and say, okay, tell me how you're feeling. You're going to have to be vulnerable with them. See y'all later. Y'all take care. Share the episode. Let's take off together.